Coming up on The Tap Out. An interview with fighter Dalton Goins. Dalton Goins. The Tap Out.
How are we doing, people? Listen, man, we are here at the Tap Out. It's another great Friday, ready for fight talk. Yeah, man, we came big this time, and we got a special guest for y'all tonight. We got to cover a card, 292, I think we're covering. We got another fight night coming up tomorrow that we're gonna cover. But I keep saying we because it ain't just me. So let me bring on the team. First of all, we got my man, the villain, aka Jake from State Farm. Holla at me, bro.
Hey, you can't call me Jake from State Farm when I ain't got no khakis on, bro. What you mean?
Man, we can't see your legs. You might have khakis on.
Yeah, fair enough. Nah, I got these weird blue things to match the Blue Jays. You know what I'm saying? But nah,
Right.
really good Friday. I got my errands all done today just so I could make sure and get this great show in tonight. Got a lot of sleep, actually, so I'm energized. I got my monsters. I'm hyped. But, hey, I'm going to say something Tuke says. We ain't a two-man show, man. We got the trifecta.
Yes,
we got
do.
Mr.
Triangle offense.
Mr. Wu-Tang Tran.
What up, people?
What's good, bro? What's good?
It's all good. It's always good. Always good in the hood.
I appreciate you. We're all here. All right, so look, we got a lot to cover tonight, but we ain't gonna cover it alone. We're gonna get our special guest in here right away. Actually,
Yes, sir.
Oh, you can't. Let me see. Hold on. We got. You know what? He said he can't hear us. All right. You can't hear it all. All right. So if he can't hear, all right. Let's give us some introductions first, or what we gonna a little breakdown of what we're gonna do today, Jake. While I figure out this. Okay. Can you hear us now? I think you hear us now. All right. So, look, special guest today, an actual fighter. Actually, you know what? We'll take an actual fighter. He's getting there, but
Nah.
But we got ourselves a pro fighter out here, a man amongst men. Let's go. My man Dalton is coming in here. Dalton!
What's up, guys?
What's good, man? So look, yeah, we've told the fans, we've been telling them we got this popping off. We got somebody very special to bring to our show today, and here you are. So we really appreciate you joining us. We're gonna do a little interview. I don't know how long it's gonna go, but my man Jake's had it all mapped out time-wise. He's like that. So
I appreciate you guys having me and be on STWF TV. It's an honor.
Let's go. You're our first fighter, man. Our first real fighter, our first guy who's a pro. So we're all a little excited about this, and this is hopefully a sign of things to come for us. And you, because you got a career ahead of you that we're all gonna be the biggest fans now. We're gonna be watching. So you gained a whole bunch of new fans right now. So all right, man, Jake, take us in, man.
Yep. So pretty much all we're going to do is we're going to go over a little bit of interview topics. We're going to go over the previous fight card of last week, and we're going to make some predictions on this fight night, and then we're going to finish up with a couple extra questions and get Dalton on out of here. So we're going to go ahead and start off. So how'd you get your start, brother? Because I know me and you have worked that good old DHL grind there for a little bit, and the next thing I know, you're off making your career big.
So some stuff happened at DHL that I can't really speak on, where I don't work there no more. I wrestled all the way through college, and then after college, I was working at DHL. I actually worked at DHL through college, and then after that, and after the whole DHL situation, my uncle gave me an opportunity to move out to Tennessee. So I moved out there, and he wanted me to help train my cousin, who's actually in the hotel room with me. Help coach him wrestling and help lift him and stuff like that. And that his older brother was actually at an MMA gym. So me wrestling through college and stuff like that, I was like, I like to compete. So I go in there and I start doing it. And after about a year of it, they're like, you plan on fighting? And I was like, yeah, that's the whole point. That's why I joined. And after that, it was well, I like this. I'm good at it. I still want to keep competing because I'm not old yet. So I just kept doing that for now. And then after I won my first belt at 145, I was like, oh, this is something I could probably do professionally. So then I transitioned. I had one more fight after that at 135. I ended up losing that fight, but I knew if the back-to-back fights going 5 rounds both times, that I knew I could compete as a pro level. So I made the transition then. Actually switched gyms to a better gym with more people and opportunities that I could have, and it's where I'm at now. Started off as a pro 4-0 with 2 knockouts. My 5th fight, actually took a fight on a week's notice, brand new opponent, instead of just shrugging it off. And then the fight after that, I was winning round 1. I got over eager in round 2. I got hit with a short right hook. It dropped me, and eventually he got a rear naked choke on me. So now I've had a full camp. I'm proud of what I've done so far. I feel great. I'm looking forward to putting on a show tomorrow night.
Awesome. Now I'm assuming that the gym that you transitioned over to, is that how you met Brian Battle?
It actually is. So Brian used to drive down and cross train with us a little bit, and then we would go up to South Carolina, North Carolina, and sometimes cross train at his gym. And so I actually didn't meet him until after his Contender Series match. So after he had that fight, then we went down, cross trained with him, and then I ended up running into him at the UFC Nashville event also because my girlfriend's dad was one of the refs for the event. So I was able to go and enjoy the fights, meet Brian. Well, not really meet him, but run into him again. And Trevor Peak was there also, get some photos with a few of the fighters. So it was a pretty good experience. Definitely motivates you once you see the whole crowd get involved, and you're like, oh yeah, this is definitely something that I can get used to.
Yeah, a whole different animal. Definitely being at one of those events and seeing all the people. I couldn't even imagine during that COVID time when there was no one in the building and you just heard everything. It's crazy, but yeah, man, that's great. How many amateur fights did you have before you went pro?
I think I ended up being 5-3. Started off 2-0, jumped up to 155, which I never should have, but I was like, I'm 2-0 and I'm getting a chance at a belt, so I'm gonna go up to 155 pounds, and I got bullied, plain and simple. I didn't belong there, and after that, came back, had some relationship issues, and ended up getting TKO'd in my 4th amateur fight. Eventually, that settled. Came back, fought at 135. After that one, fought at 145. And then my last fight was for the 135 belt, which I lost a decision in.
Gotcha. So is that about your weight that you're staying at is going to be in the bantamweight division? Are you done with featherweight?
Yeah, I'm done at 45. The guys are too big for me. They're cutting from 70, 80. I barely get up to 160. There's no reason for me to go up there. The plan right now is to try and get comfortable enough around the weight and eventually make a cut down to 125. But I'm not sure if my body will allow me. So right now we're working on that.
Gotcha. Sounds good.
In those fights, just you talked about a couple of knockouts and stuff like that. So I got it's a funny question, fun question. What's the hardest you've been hitting? Who was it?
The hardest was the fight that I got TKO'd in.
Yeah.
This kid, he's like, I remember it's Austin Carter, and he's like farm bred, strong man. And I'm thinking, okay, we're gonna step out and we're gonna feel each other out. No, he came straight forward, swinging bombs, and he never stopped. And I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting a brawl at all. And that was the first time I've been cut. The first time that like I got concussed in a fight. I got TKO'd, and it was just as far as like who's your hardest hitter. I've been dropped in two of my fights as a pro, but most of the punches that drop you are the ones you don't see coming. So like the last fight in round 2, I got dropped. It spun me around, and I looked up at him. Like I was still there. Everything was there, whatnot. Right. But he dropped me with it because I didn't see his punch. It wasn't necessarily hard. It was just that I didn't see it coming, and it clips you.
Fascinating.
So I want to ask. So how do you like balance out like training and rest and recuperation? Like,
So I have a team. They're called Vanguard Sports Performance. There are actually two of my teammates called Chance and Spencer. They actually help me with my weight a little bit and cut carbs this time, cut water this time, water load this day, so forth. So they help me with the weight cut. And then as far as my schedule is, I work Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. I started a new job about 5 weeks ago. So every Saturday that I've given the chance, I've worked a Saturday too. So I'll work 6 a.m. to 2, and then I'll go train at 4 p.m. And then depending on how I'm feeling, I'll go back and I'll train again at 6:30. Tuesday is usually kickboxing at 4 o'clock, then come back and do jujitsu at 6:30. Wednesday's usually my full rest day, but I usually take my cousin Mason to go lift. So we got to trying to get him stronger. And then Thursday, back to working again, get off at 2, go do ground and pound drills at 4 o'clock, come back and do jujitsu again at 6:30. And then Friday, our 4 o'clock class are currently on hold. So Friday, I'll usually go lift with Mason again too. Saturday, if I have to work, I'll work. And then I'll take that rest of the day off and just rest my body. And then Sunday is sparring from 3 until whenever we feel like we're done.
okay.
Yeah, no, people don't understand just how tough it is trying to break in to what you're doing, because people are still having to work, 9 to 5s and make sure they get their training in. And you really get that highlighted and, possibly watching Tough or just knowing somebody that's doing it. You get to see these guys have to go to work and do their thing. I know Will's trying to get me stuck because I stick up for the Ultimate Fighter a little too much.
He's always bugging Tough.
It's
Always.
crazy that you say that. Did you guys watch the Contender Series this past week?
I haven't caught this week.
No.
There's a kid on there named Robbie Ring. He was the 145-pound champ before I became the 145-pound champ. And Robbie trains out of Virginia. He's a really good kid. He puts the work in and whatnot, but he's been bred to fight. He's super young. I think he's 23. And he went out there and he was the favorite on it. And I think maybe nerves or him being young, he got caught with a good shot, like right in the solar plex. He got kneed, and it kind of crumbled him. And then I believe this Tuesday coming up was Chandler Cole. He was on the Ultimate Fighter. I believe you guys saw he's a heavyweight that did the spinning back kick on the Ultimate Fighter.
Right.
And so he's going back. He comes up and he trains at our gym every now and then when he's got time, but he's a full-time dad also. And so he's got his fight on Tuesday, and that just shows like the people from around the area in Tennessee and Virginia, they're starting to get noticed and get the opportunity to go up there. So once I start knowing people that are getting this opportunity, it gives me a lot more hope that, okay, I'm still on the right path. I haven't veered off too much. I just gotta be patient. So
now, is the gym Vanguard gym, or is that just your team?
The gym is called Team Octagon.
Team Octagon, okay.
Vanguard Sports Performance. They are a strength and conditioning. The two people, they put programs together. They give you nutrition. They can, if you can see in person, they'll check your body size and figure out what foods are good for you, what you need to eat in order to lose weight, how often you need to work out, the rest days you need, just so you have complete optimal performance on your big days.
Now, are they part of your rehydration as well?
Yeah. So I weighed in at 3:30. Supposed to be 3, but commission was late. Weighed in at 3. Your first 2.5, 3 hours is nothing but liquids. Don't eat no foods, because once you dehydrate yourself, you cut all the water and you shrink your stomach. If you start eating normal food right off the rip, then you're going to find yourself on the toilet, and you're just going to everything's just going to come out. You're going to have diarrhea, and you're not going to retain everything. I have not used the bathroom at all. I just took a picture, so I weighed in at 136. I'm already 149 pounds, and this is in 4 hours.
Wow.
And that's just off of liquid?
Yep.
Dang.
So I had 4 pounds of electrolytes. After that, I went and switched to my coconut water, which that was a pound or 16 ounces. After that, I switched to my Pedialyte, which was about 2.5 pounds. Me and Kayla went out to eat. I had 2 or 3 glasses of water along with my food and whatnot. And now I have all the water, electrolytes, and stuff in me. I'm a big fan of energy drinks, so now I can finally have one.
Cheers, brother.
So what do you usually eat?
The main thing is usually pasta. Your first thing should be a whole bunch of carbs. Your muscles will absorb it all, and that way you have all the energy. Unfortunately, in this Texas Roadhouse, I usually get a chicken penne, or I don't know what it's called, but I usually get that. But they didn't have any pasta, so I ended up getting shrimp, steak, a Caesar salad. I think I ate probably 3 or 4 rolls. Kind of have to if you go there.
Right.
And then I had some steak fries. I only had like 2 or 3 of them, but do that. Come back here, I'm full. I think I had another roll when I got back here, and now I'm just coasting. Fully hydrated, and I'm just relaxing.
Now,
Awesome.
how stressful is the dehydration process, like mentally and physically?
Mentally, it's like, so once you get down a certain level, it's like this cut, I started at probably 160 pounds, give or take a few pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And then this week I came in 145 pounds. So I drank a gallon of water on Monday, gallon of water on Tuesday, half gallon on Wednesday. And normally you're putting all that water in, that way you can sweat it all out. Thursday, you have a big water cut. The thing about that is when you use a sauna suit and you start sweating it all out, your whole body gets super hot.
Yeah.
The temperature right now it was like 101 here today. So I drove down here at 136. My AC's broke, so fucking that sucked.
Yeah.
So I'm dying. You're already hot on top of the heat, so you're miserable doing it. But afterwards, you get a jolt of joy when you step on the scale and you're like, oh, I'm on weight, we're good, and your whole mood changes. You're like, oh, I'm not stressed about my weight no more. I'm on weight. I don't got to worry about it. And then you're just waiting for the weigh-ins. So mentally throughout the week, it's more physical than it is mental, but just knowing it's like, okay, I have this much more to do, and picking out when you feel good, that's when you need to cut the weight. I think I cut weight Thursday morning. I did an Epsom bath, a sauna, an Epsom bath, and another sauna, each one 30 minutes. And then I had, obviously, my hair appointment, a chiropractor. I had stuff I had to go do, and I'm already drained. I think I was like 139 pounds at the time. And we get back, and Kayla wanted to go to Ulta, so she went to Ulta. It's about 5 o'clock. She comes home, and I'm passed out on her bed from about 5:30 to 8-ish or whatnot. Fell asleep because I'm so drained. I'm so tired. Right. She's about to pass out too. But I did all that, and then I got up at 8 whenever I woke up. I ended up going back to my cousin's house, Mason's, getting in the hot tub for 40 minutes just to sweat out some more. Ended up going to bed at like 137.2. And I floated off 0.6 because once you're down that low, my stomach has been empty. Well, I don't want to say empty, but I haven't ate any food since 2 o'clock Wednesday. So I wasn't able to eat until Friday or today after weigh-ins. Wow. So your stomach's empty. You have no water in you. Stomach's growling. You're dehydrated. You're not sweating when you're in the heat. It's miserable.
Yeah, but you're a zombie walking in there. Like, it's crazy. Yeah.
You got no energy to do anything. So when people say, yeah, I can do that, it's like, let's get through the weight cut and then do it. Like, if I didn't and I fought at my natural weight, fight at 155, I don't want to fight people that are Dustin Poirier cutting from 190, Justin Gaethje cutting that big. Like, I can't get that big.
That'd be
or
rough.
Khabib cutting from 200. It's just not possible for me to get that big.
All right. You guys got any more? I got
Yeah, I got another question for you.
Yeah.
So what separates you from other fighters?
I don't think there's much that separates me from other fighters. The prep that you put in says a lot about how you are. I'm big on how you prep is how you're going to fight. So if you get in those danger zones while you're training and whatnot, then you're going to be more comfortable when you get in the cage and you also get in those positions. However, everyone that's fighting as a pro now, they all have the same goal. Let's go to the UFC. I want to get the recognition. I want to get the notice. At this point, 4-2, got this fight. I'm just looking for a call up, whether it be LFA, Bellator, PFL, UFC. Obviously, is everyone's game plan.
Right.
But not everyone can make it there.
Yeah, so I got one more question, then we can get into talking about last card. So I am a fan. I follow you pretty well. I've been following you probably for the last couple of years now. I support my friends all the time. We did have a question set up for this because I do know you had a rivalry there for a while with West. And one of the questions were, how do you feel about trash talking? But I think I'm not going to answer for you, but I think we all know because you are very funny. You have very good pictures posted online about this.
So, that wasn't a big deal. The first fight, you can see in the video, I think I posted a while back, one of the judges scored it 29-28. And you can see my face. I cock and I look, I go, what the fuck? And you see it on the video. So eventually he's like, oh, I want a rematch, so and so. I was like, what does that do for me? I go, I bullied you for 3 rounds. I go, there's nothing for me. What it came down to was he put his purse on the line. He said, if you can finish me, you can have my whole purse. But if I finish you, then you get my purse. I was like, done. It's like, because you're not finishing me. And obviously I went in there, same game plan as last time, and I got caught in like the first 15 seconds. I got put on my ass.
And I did remember seeing that. I was like, oh crap, there ain't no way this is happening.
I'm lucky that we had a good ref and knew that we were pros, and they let it keep going instead of stopping it early. Eventually I came back to, I got the takedown, and then I ended up finishing him in round 3. There's no hard feelings towards him. He's just saying that the wrestling didn't work and I wasn't that good of a fighter, so-and-so, because I couldn't finish him. I'm like, I don't care if I finish you. I want to keep winning.
Win is a win, bro.
Yeah.
All this nonsense is crazy.
And I'm assuming because I didn't follow his page because I only support my friends. I'm assuming that there was some really good trash talking going back and forth because I thought I saw him did respond on one of the posts that you made and he did comment on it at one point.
He responded on a few of them. But I personally, if I'm in the mood for it, I like to shit talk. But if no one talks back, then it's kind of not fun anymore.
Right.
So I would purposely go to his page to see what him and his fans would say, and I would reply back to him or reply back to his fans and start talking shit.
There you go.
I like it.
Okay, so that answers that.
Yeah, that's fun.
Well, that takes our first round of questions. We're going to go ahead and dive deep into the what's
Actually,
up,
can I squeeze in one more?
Go for it.
Who's on your Mount Rushmore of MMA?
Oh, so GSP has to be on there. You can't, if you ask anybody that question, you got to have GSP on there.
The stamina, unbelievable.
If you're talking about, are you talking about like the four goats, or are you talking about the 4 people that made UFC, made MMA?
Yeah, they like people that shape the sport. You know, it doesn't have to necessarily pertain to UFC, but it can.
So, if you're talking about what shaped the sport, GSP has to be on there.
Mm-hmm.
Connor has to be on there.
Okay.
This is a hot take. Me and Kayla's dad, we've talked about this. Ronda Rousey has to be on there.
She brought a lot of women. She brought a lot of women to the game.
Exactly. So if you're talking revolutionize the sport and what brought it to where it is, Ronda Rousey brought the women's division there. And then obviously you got to have the OG Royce Gracie.
Okay.
All the way back in Pride. All 4 of them played a big part in what UFC is now. Now, if you go to the top 4 goats of what you're doing, GSP obviously has to be on there. John Jones has to be on there.
Mm-hmm.
Mighty Mouse has to be on there. Demetrius Johnson has to be on there. As far as the 4th one, it could be give or take. I think it's a preference. I have Anderson Silva on there right now, but I think in a year or 2, I think Izzy's actually going to pass him.
I knew it. I knew you were gonna say Izzy.
Does Fedor fitting anywhere? You know, because I got
Fedor.
Fedor on mine. Yeah, Fedor.
Fedor Emelianenko,
Like,
yeah.
in terms of like heavyweight.
I have Fedor in my top 10, but not on my top 4.
Okay.
Understood.
Fair enough.
All right. So, what you got next for us, Jake?
We got we're gonna go over the 3 mains of UFC 292, and we're gonna start off with the bottom one. The other reason why I took trash talking and went right into this, I wanted to get your take on how Ian Gary went after Neil Magny the way he did, because I don't know. I feel like what he said in that interview was taken out of context, but Will also liked his play on words because he pretty much took what Neil Magny gave him and used it against him. Picked up his kid, was like, I would never hit you. That's why I wanted to bring the trash talking topic into it. Obviously,
I watched that video a lot. I kept going back and rewatching the video. There's a video of Ian Gary watching the press conference saying, did he just say that? And whatnot?
Yeah, right.
So it's really how you take it. The way Ian took it was, this is how I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
My dad beat me and I turned out fine. So I can do the same thing to you and you should be fine. But on the other hand, Ian Gary sees it as, it happened to me, but I can break the cycle. I'm not going to hit my son. There's better ways to punish him or whatnot. But he wants to sell. And Ian Gary, if that's what he used as fuel to completely punish Magny, then that's what he uses. But it's all preference.
I felt the way he went about it was just a subtle but great comeback. Because like when somebody says that they're gonna treat you like their son, there's not a lot of ways to respond to that like creatively. I thought it was creative by watching the video, picking up his kid and flipping the narrative on it. I thought that was just because there's plenty of ways you could do it that are gonna be tasteless and cheesy. But I thought that was just like a real nice creative way to be like, yeah, well, you kind of played this wrong.
It showed a different side of Ian Gary also. It showed like the kind of father that he is, that he doesn't put his hands on his son. And that was probably like a sentimental reach for a lot of his fans.
Yeah. And the only reason I said that I really wasn't for it is because I'm like, that could also backfire, because that could put Neil Magny on the spot of like, oh, now you're talking about my kid. Because you saw it during the presser when Ian was telling him to shut up and you talk about beating kids, and then Magny got pissed off and was like, you keep talking about my kid, I'm going to hop up right now and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, well, this could backfire on Gary. But then again, I realize and take a step back, Ian Gary is a 25-year-old monster. He's on an all-time high, and he's way too precise to even get bothered by anybody talking or whatever kind of high they're on. And even though it went to decision, he absolutely bullied Magny for 3 straight rounds.
Yeah.
With at that press conference, I think everyone knows if someone stands up and they want to start shit and stuff like that, they have security everywhere. It's not going to happen. UFC's not going to let that happen. They're not going to allow that fight to fall through.
100%, so, especially since they already had Jeff Neal step out.
Yeah. So Ian Gary saying whatever he wants, knowing that nothing's going to happen, but he knows once I get in that cage, I can do whatever I want to him. He won psychologically. I thought he was the better fighter in general, and it was the main fight that he wanted. He wanted Magny instead of Neal, but Magny said no and then came in on short notice. I don't think if Magny had a full camp or whatnot that it would have changed the narrative of it. I still think Ian Gary would have butchered him.
Yeah, that fight was one-sided before, during, and after.
Yeah, when we took our bets and we were making our predictions for the fights, it was a clean sweep. Ian Gary, everyone picked Gary. Moving on to the next fight with Zhang Weili and Amanda Lemos.
Talk about one-sided.
Oh yeah, that was another one. I was so wrong about that.
that also went to decision, but Zhang Weili put on an absolute clinic. Now, it was very well a landslide, but at the same time, Lemos was still able to get a few punches through. You did see Weili get clipped a little bit. There was also that time on the ground where I believe it was either a rear naked or a darce that she almost connected.
So
Weili being
it was in round 1. It was a no arm darce, which is what we call a ninja choke.
Ooh,
it's what is it? What's her name? It's what Holly Holm just got beat with in her last fight.
Gotcha.
But no, the way Lemos had it set up, and she was off her back, there was no way she could finish it. You can't finish that off your back.
Right. But
So
no, I didn't think it.
I think Zhang knew that she was in a safe position and she just had to wait it out.
Yeah, she definitely she was being safe and she was being dominant like the champion that she is. It was a landslide, but did you guys see the striking difference?
Historically, a
yeah,
landslide.
Yeah.
She only hit like 26. Lemos
It was
only hit like 26 significant
260 to like 23 or something like that.
Yeah, something rough.
It was insane. They said the next fight, if they can get it in China, is going to be Zhang Xiaonan, I believe her name is, or it's going to be Tatiana Suarez. And we have our own opinions on Tatiana Suarez. I like her. I think she's a great fighter, but I think she's only had 2 fights since her return after a 5-year layoff. Is she ready for a championship fight?
That was her first fight in Nashville. Her first fight after the layoff.
Okay.
I thought she fought in February.
Jessica Andrade, which Jessica's been jumping up from 115 to 125, and I think right now Jessica knows that a title picture is not in her future, so I think she's just taking these fights and getting paid to do them.
Right. Yeah, I thought Tatiana Suarez had a fight in February as well. Maybe I'm wrong. But no, yeah, that's those one of those 2 fights. If they can get it in China, they want it to be Zhao Nan versus Wei Li. And if they can't, the next fight's going to be Suarez and Wei Li from what I was getting through the dirt sheets.
At this point, I just don't see anyone messing with Wei Li.
So they're actually in China this weekend. So the next fight that they do, it won't be Xiaonan and Wei Li. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the next one for Zhang is going to be Tatiana Suarez. And I think what you do is you give Lemos to Xiaonan. And then see how that one goes. Because I believe Jan's last fight was Jessica Andrade, in which she hit her as she was coming in and dropped her. And she got the finish that way. But no, they definitely said that they want to book those two fights together and make it in China. It's just that's not going to be the next one. It doesn't work with the UFC's time frame
schedule
set up.
Makes sense.
But yeah, no, Zhang Wei Li, absolute dominant champion. And now we're going to talk about something, and this is something that me and Dalton had discussed a little bit, and I'm really interested to see his take on this because he is a fighter that has possibly been he has been in this situation in the second West fight. Yeah. O'Malley versus Aljamain Sterling. A lot of people are saying early stoppage, and I got flashbacks to and same referee, mind you. I got flashbacks to the Pereira fight and Izzy fight the first time. I said I don't know why they called the match. Izzy was still standing. He might not have been defending as well as he normally does, but he was still standing and he was fine, and he looked very mad after the fight had stopped. I wouldn't say the same thing in this case because Aljamain rolled over to his back and was still getting hit, but people were calling early stoppage. I thought it was fine because after me, Will, and Mike had talked about it, you can be out standing up. And you even explained to me the same way, but the ref has a different job than the judges. The judges have a different job than the fighters. The coaches have a different job than the fighters. Everyone's got a different thing they're looking at. I want you to go ahead on a full tangent if you have one about the 2 scenarios and right now and how Mark Goddard handled both fights.
So with the Izzy and Pereira fight, when I first watched it, I was like, okay, I think there was like 20 or 30 seconds left. Izzy's defended the belt so many times. I feel like if he's going to go out, let him go out. Let him – you got short time. He's not protecting himself very well, but the ref's job is to make sure you don't take legit damage. Mm-hmm. You're in 4-ounce gloves. Like, you're going to take damage. You're going to get hit. But their job is to protect you from taking permanent damage. Right. So looking back on it, it's probably a good stoppage. Obviously, he right his wrong in the next fight. This fight is the same with who Derek Lewis just fought somebody. You can't get hit and then face plant. Aljo was coming in, he got cracked and face planted. And so he says on his podcast that he was never out. Like he says he doesn't remember a few things. That means you're out. That
means you were out. Yeah, exactly.
So you can see him. He gets hit and his arms go stiff and then he face plants and then he comes to. And then as he's watching whatnot, he's getting clipped a few more times. And then he finally rolls over and he's still getting hit. That his job is to protect him. And he did. Aljo's getting hit on his back and then turtles up and then continues to get hit. It's about time he stops the fight. So I think it was a good stoppage. If they run it back, I don't know what's going to happen. The weeks leading up to it, I was like, I think if Aljo's going to pressure him like he always does, he's going to try and get him on the back foot, and he's going to take him down. If he takes him down, O'Malley's going to gas. And for some reason that morning, I was at the gym with my cousin, and I was talking to a lot of people. They're like, what do you think about it? I go, for some reason, I think O'Malley's going to have some type of McGregor performance. I think he's going to sleep him. And I actually fell asleep, woke up, and Kayla goes, what are you doing? I go, I got to see who won the fight. I go, I had money on it. I go back, I slide up, and it says O'Malley won by TKO in round 2. I was like, let's go.
He stung him, man. He stung him. It was beautiful.
I laid right back down, went right back to bed.
I believe if I had to go ahead and make any kind of like an assessment of what I saw, Aljo didn't respect him. He reached for that left hook. O'Malley's a sniper. He saw it, took his shot, and it was done from there. He was on the ground. He got busted open. O'Malley's ground and pounds, just standing up is pretty insane. And he's got a lot of reach. He's like 5'11". He's one of the biggest bantamweights in the division. I thought Aljo was about the same height as him. No, he's at least 2-3 inches shorter. And O'Malley stung him, got him down, and just clean, cut, and knocked him the hell out. It was crazy.
And O'Malley, he played it smart. Like, instead of getting in the guard and trying to hit him or getting on the ground, he stayed up. He moved his feet, picked his shots, and each shot he hit, it hurt him a little bit more. What's crazy is O'Malley fights the same weight that I fight. O'Malley even talks about he only gets about 155 pounds. So him cutting down, but also being 5'11", 6 foot, whatnot, it's a mean cut for him too, because he's got that whole range of his body.
Right. I felt Aljo's entire game plan was off. Like, he should have been. I mean, I know it's not exactly easy to get O'Malley down all the time, but I felt like that should have been more of the approach. Whereas he let him have the space, and then he rushed him. And you just can't rush a guy whose angles are as good as O'Malley's.
I think Aljo learned from his first Jan fight. That first Jan fight, he kept shooting. He gassed out in the 3rd round, and Peter Jan was just picking him apart.
Right.
And then the illegal knee came. And that just so happened, I think he did a smarter game plan with Henry Cejudo, where he kept shooting, and while he was down there, he stayed down there, and he just kept looking up like this. Because, okay, you can't hit me. What are you going to do? You're going to throw an uppercut while I'm on the ground? That's fine. I'm going to stand right back up. And then now we're back in neutral positions. So he's got smart game plans, and what he's trying to do, depending on the fighter. His only game plan was he had to get O'Malley down. He's not outstriking O'Malley.
Yeah, and the funny thing about this fight too is like O'Malley even stated that he didn't do any grappling for this fight.
No, he had a cartilage in his rib or something like that where he couldn't grapple for like 6 weeks.
Yeah. And I'm sitting there like, man, his window like winning, he didn't take it. You know, it's like, granted that that was like after the fact, but.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what do we think's next for O'Malley? Do we think it's a rematch or?
He doesn't want the rematch. He wants the Cheeto fight.
That's
I personally, I want Merab to go for the title. Yeah. Merab's been sitting in the backseat of Aljo because he's his teammate. Aljo has, 2 title defenses? Or 1?
I believe.
He got it from Jan. He got it from Jan via DQ. He beat Jan.
He beat Dillashaw.
That's an asterisk. Dillashaw's got a separated shoulder.
Right.
Or Dillashaw should have backed out of that.
So who does?
I want to see. I personally, I want to see who deserves it. Merab. Who do I want to see? O'Malley and Sandhagen.
I was about to say, if you look at the top 5, one of the only guys, in my opinion, that makes sense is Sandhagen, but he just took elbow surgery.
Yeah, tricep. He had his tricep reconstructed.
That'll be bombs all day.
That's a striking fest that I would pay for.
Absolutely.
But that's unless no one else has anything to go on this, that takes up this card. You guys got anything else on it? Are we good?
No, we're good for this card, and I think we're gonna take a quick commercial break, pay the bills. You know how we do. And we'll be right back. Don't y'all go nowhere, man. We here with Dalton Goins, man.
What's up, guys? It's Mike Larimore here. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to Stwf Media for all of the love and the positivity they've been sending my way recently. We partnered up, you know what I'm saying? I just like the energy the guys bring over there. So any sports talk, you want to talk football, you want to talk baseball, they might even talk bowling if you're interested. Boxing, whatever your thing is, man. Go check them out. There's a lot of great coverage over there. Again, it's nothing but positive energy from these guys. Go check them out. Peace.
Yes, sir. Thank you to our guy Lattimore. Always, he had a big BKFC win a few weeks ago. Shout out to him. But you know what it is. We're here with Dalton. Lattimore might be down the road, but we got Dalton here with us right now. And before we carry on with the rest of the show, you know, you got to like the video, keep on commenting if you comment, and share it out. Tell all your friends. You can catch us everywhere on the social media platforms: Apple, Spotify, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Follow us on all of those, and you can check out all our shows coming in. We appreciate you guys being here. Dalton, again, can't thank you enough for being here. We're going to go ahead and talk about this weekend's fight night that we already touched on just a little bit. We're going to go over the co-main event and the main event, and we're going to start with the co first. And I do want to get your opinion on one thing about one fighter, and then we're going to go into the fight. We got one Anthony Lionheart-Smith going against Brian Spann. Before we go into the fight, me and you had a conversation on Facebook going back and forth about some comments that Anthony Smith made a while back about Bo Nickel and his wrestling. Would you like to touch on that a little bit?
I can't remember what was said. I probably should have went back and looked at the comments or whatnot. But if he was saying that like Bo Nickel's wrestling is not that good, Bo Nickel's at a point right now where his grappling is probably good enough. He can go in and he can probably compete with Izzy. And if he takes Izzy down, he's not getting back up. He's a Hodge Trophy winner, a 2 or 3-time NCAA champion. And he's wrestled for the USA, the world team and whatnot. There's different levels of wrestling. And
I believe his take was over him not making the Olympic team. And what Anthony Smith, I believe, in my fair opinion, and I believe that he also stated was that he was also going and trying out against the team that, you know, had a Gable Stevenson on the team. It was really hard to make that team.
Yeah, and if it's at, let me try and think, 187, you have, well, it's not Jaden Cox. It's not Jordan Burroughs. It could have been David Taylor, which I think David Taylor and Jordan Burroughs in the same weight class. You got Chance Marsteller. It's a stacked. The top half of the USA team is always going to be stacked, and they have the best wrestlers up there. So if you lose, you can't hang your head on that just because it's a 1 point, 2 point, especially in freestyle when he comes from mainly a folk style background.
But I did see it. Go ahead. Didn't mean to cut you off.
But as a fighter, there's nobody in the UFC, and I can get roasted for this. There's no one with his wrestling background or his grappling in the UFC. There's a reason that he went and competed with who's the jiu-jitsu guy? He did a super match with him, and I can't think of his name now. He ended up losing it, but I still can't think of his name.
Smith. Yeah, I'll look for it.
Bo Nickel, and he grappled
Gordon Ryan, yeah.
Oh,
He grappled Gordon Ryan, who is the jiu-jitsu guy. Like that's all people want to watch is him. And Nickel had a good match. Nickel ended up throwing him a few times, and sure enough, he ended up getting caught in an armbar or a triangle or something like that. And you could see after the match he was physically upset or emotionally upset, but you're going against the number 1 pound-for-pound best jiu-jitsu guy. You're the number 1 pound-for-pound wrestler in some people's eyes and whatnot. So it was a good experience for him, and I think that just really prepped him for the UFC.
So these guys are about the same weight class, I believe. The guy that I'm about to bring up is a little bit different. So you're telling me you think that Bo Nickel would out wrestle and throw around Chimaev?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Very
Fascinating.
interesting.
Bo Nickel would. I am firmly confident Bo Nickel bullies Chimaev. Standing up, it always stands up. Chimaev's gonna want to stand up with him. He's not gonna want to wrestle with him. But I watched Bo Nickel's podcast. I went up and I watched videos of Chimaev wrestling, and what Bo Nickel says is the truth. He does fakes, head snaps, fakes, and then blast doubles. He says that's the same shit that he teaches his club teams. It's shit you learn in middle school. As far as scrambling, you're not gonna out scramble Bo Nickel.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I'm glad I got that take from you because I was meaning to ask you that, but I'm glad I saved it for the podcast after all.
I think eventually that their paths are going to cross. If they don't for the belt, then it'll cross eventually. But I don't see it going any other way.
I'd be perfectly fine with that ending up being a title eliminator, honestly.
If Chimaev doesn't clip Bo Nickel early and knock him out, and somehow Nickel is able to get a takedown, that's it.
But you see from the previous fight, Bo Nickel's been working on his striking. He knocked, even though he was a guy that had to step in on short notice, he clipped him and it was done right at the beginning of the fight.
Well, most people don't know his mom's an Olympic champ in boxing.
Wow.
He's been around striking his whole life. His dad's been wrestling his whole life, and he's been groomed as the athlete. So him going to the UFC, going on to the Contender Series back-to-back fights with 0 fights, or he had 2 fights. Nobody wants to fight him. Everyone knows Bo Nickel, so there's a reason why they turn down fights against him.
Man, that's scary to think about. When you're like,
it's the same with Volk at 145. No one's calling for a fight with Volk. He's true. Everyone at 145. No, not even Ilya. Look, you can look it up. Ilya has never said. Ilya says, "I want the belt." Ilya won't say, "I want to fight Volk."
The thing is, man, if you ask me, I think Volk beat Islam that last fight.
I had Volk winning too, but it's a championship fight at 155. You have to convince the judge that you won that fight.
You got to win decisively. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not disappointed in the win, but the judges saw it differently than me. It could have went either way.
I am pretty mad because I do believe that the UFC just recently changed their pound-for-pound rankings, and Volk got moved down to 2, and Jones is now the pound-for-pound top, but I still think Volk should be number 1.
So UFC, they changed their rankings. ESPN came out, and ESPN has Jones number 3, Islam number 2, Volk number 1. So everybody's got different rankings. And
yeah.
The UFC rankings, I think, are based on the fans. I think the fans voted on them. So obviously everyone's going to vote for John Jones.
Right.
The only reason I don't have Jones at number 1 is, he's undefeated. He came back and he beat Cyril Gane for the belt. But Cyril Gane is the most incomplete heavyweight fighter in the UFC roster. Mm-hmm. He's got 0 ground game whatsoever. Francis Ngannou has 0 wrestling, 0 ground game, and held him down.
Yep.
And then Jones came back.
He also had a lot of help from Kamaru with his wrestling training, so you could definitely see what Ngannou was trying to do. But
the only reason that I won't put Jones at number 1 even after this Stipe fight is because I think Stipe's too old.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's in his prime no more. What I would like to see is I think Jones is leaving after this fight.
Of course he is.
It's a safe bet. I think the person that can probably pass Jones and beat Jones is going to be Tom Aspinall.
Me too. I'm 100% with you. I mentioned that on a previous show.
So why do you say that?
I think Aspinall is the full package. I think he's got great wrestling. His striking has been tremendous. We all saw that. The one loss that he has, he stepped back and blew his knee out.
Yep.
Right.
Against Curtis
it's a
Blades.
Freak accident. Yeah, it's a freak accident. Nothing you can really do about that. I think the next fight to make is going to be Aspinall versus Pavlich, and then the winner of that fights for the belt.
See, they also got Pavlich is another one that's coming up, and then there's another guy fighting Spivak. He's another guy that's making waves in that heavyweight division, but I don't think he's exactly right to that level yet. I think he needs another few fights.
I think it's Sergey and Pavlovich. I think they're fighting each other.
Maybe, I'm not too sure, but I haven't checked out the future cards except for the next couple. But I think they do have a fight coming. But that's pretty crazy.
I look at Pavlovich as another Cyril Gane, or
Really?
as not a Cyril Gane, as another Francis. He hits hard, but if you try and grapple him and stuff like that, he gasses out. His last fight, someone tried to grapple him. I can't remember what it was, but there's a video of him, some guy throwing like a little love tap knee and just barely touched the cup. And Pavlovich was like, "Oh, my balls!" It's like, that didn't hit you hard enough for it to hurt.
Right.
I think he was just gassed. And if he's gassing with someone trying to take him down and stuff like that, Jones is gonna wrap him, have his weight all up on him, take him down. I just don't think that's an entertaining fight.
I'm with you. But from what I could see off of Facebook, it seems like you've buried the hatchet with Anthony Smith, taking the photo with him, which is pretty cool. We're going to go ahead and have a little fun and do a little predictions with this co-main and this main event between Anthony Smith and Ryan Spann. Anybody that's been, watching UFC the last few years knows that Anthony Smith has a win over Ryan Spann, and he also made a big deal out of it because he was yelling at him at the end of the fight, "You know my name now." That's where that big thing came from, which is pretty funny. So, does anyone think that this fight's going to go the exact same way? Do you think Spann's underwent some really good training and he's got Smith now? Because he's kind of on a skid right now. Smith's not doing too hot. I'm a huge fan of him. I've always liked him since before the John Jones title fight. I thought he was a great fighter. His record might not show, but he's been fighting a very long time. He's over 50 professional fights now. How do you guys see this fight going? That's for all three of you.
I think
Spann wins it.
What was that?
I think Spann wins. There's a little. I might be a little biased, but there's a thing about everyone that has fought John Jones, and then their record after losing to John Jones.
They get better.
They get worse.
Oh, they get worse?
Dominic Reyes has been getting
Reyes got
Dominic Reyes.
I forgot about Reyes.
Went up, but he went to heavyweight and competed. Gustafsson, I think he's like retired. 1 under 500 or something like that.
Yeah, it's rough.
Reyes got butchered. Anthony Smith does have a downslide or whatnot, and Spann is on the come up. So I think at the time Spann was young and getting into the UFC, he was like, "Well, I don't know who he is, or I don't know his name or whatnot." I think this is a completely different fighter now.
They also commenting on the John Jones thing. I understand that both these fighters, Lyoto Machida and I lost the name, but Lyoto Machida and someone else, as soon as they lost to Jones, they booked it over to Bellator. But they were both old at the time, or they were getting older at that time.
It's not Shogun. It's not Ryan Bader.
No. I forgot who it was. I don't know how I'm forgetting the name. I just had both of them. I don't want to say Chael Sonnen either, but it might be.
Chael went over.
Yeah.
But no, Chael did fight Jones. So it
wasn't that part of his wasn't that part of his stipulation though, that he said he'd leave the UFC if he lost? But he still stayed.
That's what he said. The second Anderson Silva fight.
Oh yeah, no, that's another one. Shogun completely went away. Rampage completely went away.
Career ending, huh?
Glover Teixeira and Daniel Cormier went on to do fine. OSP didn't really do much. It's kind of crazy when you see the guys. Thiago Santos went to PFL. Dalton's hitting that right on the head. All these guys went on to have kind of bad streams.
Now, does that speak to what happens in that fight dealing with him, or does that speak to when in their careers he's being fed these guys?
I think it's their psyche. They get destroyed after getting completely picked apart.
I think they get real good. They get to the point like, oh, he's not that good, but he does everything really good. He's not a perfectionist at striking or perfectionist at jiu-jitsu, perfectionist at wrestling or anything like that. But he mixes all of it together so well that he is the perfect fighter. I think a big part of that has to do with how he trains mentally and whatnot. And he talks about his fight with Rampage. Leading up to it, he had a fear and he kept having a dream that Rampage knocked him out in the first round. So going into that fight, he was like, if I survive the first round, then I don't have those jitters anymore.
Right.
The fight with Lyoto Machida, he talks about how every time he threw a kick, Machida would boom rush him and hit him with a jab cross jab every single time. And eventually he faked a low kick and then clipped him with an elbow, or I think it was a straight left or something like that, and he dropped him. So his IQ for like what he sees in fights and whatnot is above everyone else's.
It's like it slows down for him.
And then afterwards, completely slept him. Lyoto Machida was completely out.
Yeah.
That was
And it was kind of
heartbreaking to
unfair
watch.
because the ref couldn't see the tap out. I think he might have tapped, but he was out. Like he fell like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah, sleepy time.
But no, as my two co-hosts here know me all too well, I kind of pick with my heart too much. Like I never pick against Cody Garbrandt, no matter how bad he gets or how many fights he loses. I always pick Garbrandt, and I feel the same way about Anthony Smith. He's one of my favorite fighters in the game, even though he's on a decline.
So
I
you
think
pick,
Ryan.
you
I
pick
think
Cody
Ry-
Garbrandt over O'Malley?
Yes, he would.
Yeah,
he would. He would.
Yes, he would.
O'Malley's TKOing him in the first.
And the
First
only
round,
reason I say
night-night.
that is and the only reason I say that is because Cody Garbrandt is a wrestler. He just chooses not to use it for some reason because he likes to bang, but he's got a glass chin. That's a personal fault of his. If he wrestled O'Malley or could somehow get him down, which I don't think he could because he's like 5'7", he'd have a very hard time doing it. And I put height in a lot of my predictions and picks because I think if you're the taller fighter, you have a major advantage. And yeah, I would take Garbrandt in that fight just because I go with my heart sometimes, but I think his wrestling can help. But you got to be able to take down O'Malley, and O'Malley's got some good takedown defense.
The problem is you openly admit that he doesn't try to do it, and against a guy like O'Malley, even more, he's not going to do it.
But the thing is, if you know this guy can't wrestle, you should train for that.
We're not. That's not the conversation. The conversation is, will he do it? And I don't think he will because
Right.
he's gonna want to fight O'Malley. Like everyone wants to knock O'Malley out.
And I say the same thing about Michael Chandler, another guy that's a phenomenal wrestler that chooses not to use it because he wants to go for the highlights.
Yeah,
Chandler
wants to take people's heads off. I love it.
Yeah,
I do admire your loyalty, though, Jake. I do admire it a lot,
it's
man.
great.
It is great to see.
But no, I do take Anthony Smith, but I do like what Dalton's saying about Ryan Spann being a completely different fighter. Now, there's a very good chance Anthony Smith goes in there and freaking loses his ankle again or gets his head completely knocked off his body. But I do like him. I like when he comes out to return to the MAC. I love listening to his walkout song when he comes out. It's really relaxing. I'm like, I thought when you get a walkout song, you want to go out there and play like Limp Bizkit break stuff. You want to be able to hear something that makes you want to throw hands. Instead, this guy walks out to return to the MAC, and I'm just like, I'm feeling
amazing.
this.
So how long ago was the first fight?
That's a good question. I will check that right now for you. But it's been at least 2 years.
Okay.
I think it's been longer.
Probably, actually.
Yeah, I got
I
speed.
feel like it was yesterday. For some reason, I feel like that was like yesterday, man. Like that fight.
It feels like it.
On my mind.
Let's see.
Yeah, I got
Ryan Spann. The fight against Spann was on almost a year to the. No, it's about a month away. On September 18th, 2021, he beat Ryan Spann by a rear naked choke in the first round.
So almost 2.
It's 2 years. Yeah, almost.
But yeah, that's me taking Smith. Dalton takes Spann. Will, I believe, took Spann. Mike, who you taking in this fight?
I'm gonna go with Spann. I feel like Smith is getting old, man. I think Father Time's catching up with him.
Yeah.
Hey, but these fighters sometimes get a second win. Look at Glover Teixeira and look at Stipe as well.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I don't live by exceptions, man. I go by reality. I go like the most case scenario. Not to say that it can't happen, but
Right.
like I said, I can't bank on these rare exceptions. You know what I mean?
Those type of exceptions, you got to see it happening, and I haven't seen it with Smith recently.
But all right, well, that's 3-1. Hopefully, Anthony Smith pulls off an upset for me because that'll make me feel good. But next, this one's a tad bit of a heartache for one Mr. Wu-Tang Tran.
Yeah.
Because if I remember correctly, these are two of his favorite fighters. You got Max Blessed Holloway and the Korean Zombie.
This is what's
Mike,
hard about
Mike, I'm going to let you go off on it. Go for it, brother.
Yeah, this is the hardest part about being an MMA fan. Like when two of your favorite fighters go at it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't want you. I mean, obviously there only can be one winner, but it's just hard to see somebody walk away with a loss. Again, you know what I mean? It's like I gotta stick with reality, and reality says like Max is gonna gonna destroy Zombie, man. As much as I love Zombie, I feel like he made a lot of his changes too late in his career, man. I feel like that Korean Zombie like persona, even though it made him famous, it got him in a lot of freaking trouble. You know what I mean? So and Max is like a volume guy, and I don't think Korean Zombie's able to handle that amount of volume.
Now, Mike did give me a really good story about pretty much how the Korean Zombie's entire career went, and he kind of got screwed in the middle of his career where his prime was and had to go join the military. But he came back and he had 2 good fights, but then I feel like that fight with Yair when he got caught by that crazy elbow, that's what started his slide down. He still got his 1 title shot, which I believe he deserved at least once in his career. But Volk took him
title shot.
Second. And Volk absolutely pieced them up and destroyed them, but it was with all respect. They showed the most respect I've ever seen in a fight between them two. And now you got these 2 gladiators going at it, and I'm going to be realistic. As much as Mike's turned me on and made me a fan of Korean Zombie, Max Holloway is the second best featherweight, in my opinion, to ever do it. And I think he's just going to tear this fight apart. If this goes to decision, Korean Zombie's not going to look the same at the end.
Yeah, in my opinion, Max is the definition of punches and bunches. This guy just throws, man, and he never stops, and he talks while doing it, man. He just loves a good fight, and he's got a good chin. He could take a beat. He could take a beating too. He's got too much heart, and I just don't see him losing this fight.
When he calls himself the best, Max has
never been knocked out.
Yeah, that
Max never been knocked out.
Right.
I think he may have been dropped once against Volk, but in his entire UFC career, he's never been stopped.
And he's been stung before, but he's just too tough.
And remember, look at all the people he's fought. He even went up against Conor. He took Conor to the decision early on in Conor's career when he was still in his prime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Conor wrestled.
It was Dustin too, right?
I think Dustin submitted him twice with the exact same move. I think it was an armbar or a triangle both times.
Yeah.
He also another one of the guys that I'm very loyal to is Brian Ortega, and Brian Ortega did not. I don't think he tapped out, and I don't think he was KO'd, but he went into that fight looking like Brian Ortega. He left it looking like, he did not look the same. He had a hematoma on his head, busted lip, blood everywhere. He did not look like Brian Ortega.
This dude Holloway be knuckling people. That shit's fun to watch.
And when he says it, he screamed at one fight. When he was looking over at Dana and the judges and everything, he's not lying. He is not in his division, in the entire UFC, the best boxer in the entire UFC.
It was his fight against Calvin Kattar.
Yep, the Kattar.
Yes.
He was next to the cage, and you hear them talking about his punch count. He was like, count it up. And he pointed at him and missed everything. That was when he set the record for the most significant strikes in a fight, too.
And mind you, he got hit up a bunch that fight, too, but it just did not matter, man. He just delivers more.
And DC was doing his best to try to give Calvin respect, but you just couldn't. He was like, and this is Calvin Kattar he's going against. This is no schmuck fighter. This is a real I'm like, DC, you could stick up for him and try to make him seem big, but he's getting pieced up and destroyed.
That was Calvin's first loss in the UFC also. So
really?
He was an up-and-comer too, which is why Volk, after he beat Yair, said, Ilya, please don't fight Max Holloway, because they fight Max, and now Volk don't have nobody to fight.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Max went through a stretch in that fight of I think 8 to 10 just clear counters, like just chilling and waiting for him to throw, sidestep, bam. It's just too much, man. His angles, his speed, his power. He's not even the most powerful guy, but his ability to get whatever strikes off that he wants is
he overwhelms you. Most of his fights are TKOs because he throws so many punches that there's nothing you can do about it.
Stamina, man.
Yeah, I feel like Zombie's gonna get overwhelmed. That's my prediction. I think it's gonna happen early on too. I think it's gonna happen like the second or third round.
This is 5 rounds too. It's a main event. So it's a 5-round fight, and it's not gonna. I don't think it lasts all 5.
Yeah, and main card starts early, guys. Don't forget this fight is over in Singapore, I believe. Be aware that this fight card is going to be on at 8 a.m. if you guys want to catch it.
I'm gonna let you guys know now too. This is Zombie's retirement fight.
You think so?
Yeah. No, it has to be. I don't see him going any longer.
This is the first time they've met, and they both came in the UFC the exact same year, which I think is like 2013. So in 10 years in the UFC, they never crossed paths. So this is Zombie already said after his last fight with Volk, he didn't know what he's going to do. Max Holloway called him out. He says, I'd love to do this. And then he gave out his prediction on his future depending on this fight. And he said there's a lot of things I got to think about. But if I lose this fight, it's kind of hard to talk about hanging it up. But sometimes the things you don't want to do, you have to do the most. So right. I think he loses this fight. And then I also think he retires the same night.
Gotcha. So, all right, cool. That's all four of us on a prediction, and we're all going Holloway, too. That's clean. If it's a retirement fight, thank you for the great career. I'm sorry about the middle of his career. I wish he would have been able to fight his whole career, but you have obligations back home. Nonetheless, can't wait for the fight. I think it's going to be very entertaining. If anyone didn't know, Aaron Blanchfield, who I believe is overrated, is also on this card, in the main card. So
I think she's got good jits. I think she's good. I didn't bet on this. I have a parlay for this card, but I didn't bet on that fight. I think Talia Santos is a good fighter, and I think if Valentina wins, they're going to run her and Grasso back.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if Grasso wins, then the winner of this fight's fighting the winner of
Can we all agree that it's a little weird that we all know how great Zhang Weili is and how many defenses she's had? Yet when you go look at UFC, just the UFC, not anywhere else, but if you look at UFC's pound for pound best women fighter, they have Alexa Grasso at number 1 and Zhang Weili at 2. I absolutely hate that.
You want to know why?
Tell me.
Because Alexa Grasso beat the number 1 pound for pound female.
Right.
Before she was 2, but then Amanda Nunes retired.
Yeah. And now Shevchenko is rightfully number 1. Shevchenko lost against Alexa Grasso, so they have to put Grasso at 1.
Fair enough.
And that's at 25. Rose Namajunas is actually jumping up to 125. I saw that. She makes her debut, I believe, in September.
Fuck Rose.
Which is a little weird to me. I don't see why she would move up. Is it that she didn't clear out the division? I just what is it that she beat Zhang Weili twice and that there's no point, or I don't understand. Change of scenery? I don't get it.
Did she beat Jan twice? Or
yes,
Riley twice? She beat her by
a
knockout. I remember the kick. I think they ran it back, and I think she did win that decision.
Yeah, and then she ended up going on to losing against Carla Esparza.
Yeah, that was a pitiful fight.
I hated that. I remember I got on here. I might not have been on the show, actually. I don't remember, but I did make a big post about it, saying about how disappointing it was to see Rose Namajunas be the champion and go out there and put on that piss-poor performance. She was absolutely horrible. She looked like garbage out there. I don't know if it was I've been fighting these tough fights, and now I'm tired, and I have to go against Carla Esparza. Because Carla Esparza, all due respect to her, she's a title holder. She will hold the title to whoever she fights next if she gets the belt. Rose Namajunas went out there, completely shit the bucket. I'm like, well, whoever Carla fights next, she's done. So I
thought Rose won the fight. I thought Rose beat her.
That's what I was saying, too.
Nobody did anything. I think Carla was she was more active. I think Rose threw more punches, but she defended every single takedown. When she got taken down, got back up, Carla didn't do any damage on the ground. I had it for Rose, so I was kind of shocked when they gave it to Carla, but going back and watching it, I was like, okay, it could have went either way, but it doesn't change the fact that it was an absolutely shit show of a fight.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you usually, to take a belt like that, you usually got to win decisively, and I don't think she did, but they gave it to her.
But that closes out that card. Thank you for your opinions. Thank you for staying with the show to give us some intel on the previous card and your opinions on this one. I believe Will has a pretty good question for you that I'm actually interested on hearing as well.
Talk about the music one?
Yes.
Yeah. So, how do you choose, or what's your go-to, your walk-in music, man?
It depends on how I'm feeling the week of the fight, because I gotta have the song sent in by Tuesday of fight week, and there's actually a new artist. His name's Nick D that I've been listening to, and I actually found him on TikTok. He's got a song called "Still Hot" that I've been listening to lately, and for this fight, that's my walkout song.
Nice.
Very nice.
I actually got another question. What do you think is, in your personal opinion, the most important art or discipline in mixed martial arts? Like the most effective and all around wrestling? Yeah,
Wrestling.
that's what I figured.
It's non-debatable.
Yeah.
As far as discipline and how you're groomed in the aspect or whatnot, it's wrestling. If any elite wrestler or whatnot, what you go through, like that's fine. You can go through boxing, that's fine. But there's nothing worse than grinding wrestling and how exhausted you get. Which is why when you come back and you look at the UFC champions and whatnot, look at how many of them come from a wrestling background. Justin Gaethje, Oklahoma State or Oklahoma or something like that. Colby Covington wrestled. Kamaru Usman, D2 national champ. John Jones wrestled. Brock Lesnar wrestled. Henry Cejudo, gold medalist. Aljo wrestled D1. So forth. You keep going down the line. You got more wrestlers than any other champion.
Yeah, I would agree. But it's just a fun debate. I got a friend who consistently thinks it's standing up, kickboxing or Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but I believe it's wrestling. Yeah, I agree.
Jiu-jitsu, I think jiu-jitsu is safe, but it doesn't stop you from getting punched in the face.
Exactly.
And kickboxing is good too if you can keep distance, but go ahead and throw a kick and let the wrestler grab your leg, and you don't know nothing on the ground. Yeah, you're getting bullied.
It's done. Yeah.
So
I want to say it's got to be a good wrestler, not the high school kids that are like, oh yeah, I went to state, but then I lost stuff. It's high level wrestlers, guys that go D1 and they place at the NCAAs and stuff like that. They grab your leg and you don't know anything on the ground. You're not getting up. They can hold you down at will. You're gonna gas out, and they're just gonna have fun with you.
So I do got an opinion-based question for you. So we know of like 3 mainstay referees in the UFC. I want to know how you rank them because I have there's 4. I have a certain higher tier of what these referees are. I want to know where you rank them. You got
careful
Herb
now.
Dean,
obviously. Might have one of these guys in the ring with him.
Right. Yeah, that's fine. You got Herb Dean, you got Mark Goddard, Steve Herzog, and what's the bald one's name? I'm forgetting his name.
Tyone.
No. It's the goatee, tall.
Mike Beltran.
No, Mike Beltran. I know Mike Beltran really, really well, but I haven't seen him in the UFC lately.
What's his chick referee? Remember that one chick referee?
Must have missed that one.
With the long ponytail? I forgot her name.
Will, can you do me a favor and look up that referee's name? I can't believe I'm losing it.
It's goatee, and he's bald.
Bald, gray goatee, taller. I don't have the iPad anymore. I gave it back to the kids. But yeah, the three that I definitely know that I want you to name, and then when Will pulls his name up, I'd like to know your opinions on where you rank them on how well they are. And it's Mark Goddard, Herb Dean, Steve Herzog, and Mr. Baldman.
So
it's Mike with the crazy mustache.
No, he's I can't believe I'm forgetting this man's name.
Oh,
just look up UFC.
I know what you're talking about. Oh shit, let me look him up. I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
We're doing great.
I don't. I've got no idea who you're talking about.
The one that pissed off Colby Covington, right?
Yeah, I'm freaking fumbling here. I can't believe it.
I know exactly who you're talking about. Oh my god, I can't believe you're slipping on mine too.
It's not Mark Smith. I was about to say that too, Will.
Mario Yamasaki. No, I'm just joking.
No, forget him.
Mario Yamasaki.
Yeah, they don't like Maserati either.
Hey, Maserati is the greatest. I'm just joking. Fuck, who was his name again?
So we said not Mike Beltran.
Damn it.
We already talked about Herzog. Not Mazzagatti. Not Keith Peterson. Mark Smith.
Look at what's Mark Smith look like?
He's black.
Dan Margliotta. Dan Margliotta.
Yes, Dan Margliotta.
He's shitty.
All right,
that's hilarious. It took us that long to get to the name, and he's like, he's trash.
No, I don't really look at the refs that much. Each ref sees something differently, and they decide how to protect the fighters in their own way. So obviously, you have slip ups like Herb Dean had it with the Ben Askren and Robbie Lawler fight. That happens. Their job is to protect the fighter, and when they think they're in too much danger, they're going to stop the fight. So I don't really have an opinion on the refs that they have because their job is to protect the fighters. So if they think something's happening, even though it's not, they're just doing their job. You can't really hate them for that. Which is why at the end of that fight, Robbie Lawler was like, "Man, don't worry about it. You're a hell of a ref. Shit like this happens. It does happen. Sometimes you're on the receiving end. Sometimes it goes your way. You can't really complain about it."
Very fair. Do you guys have any other last questions for Dalton before we get ready to let him go?
What's the first thing you're gonna eat after your fight?
I've already ate.
I mean, we're talking about like what's your cheat meal? Like what's
Like after your fight, like once the fight's over, you're gonna go grab you a double cheeseburger or something?
No, hell no. I'm getting some donuts.
Donuts.
Nice.
We should have played our Jay's Donuts clip. Commercial.
Oh, we should have.
I actually got kind of a controversial question. Do you think at times the UFC caters to certain fighters to try to give them an easier path? Like some would say they sent a lot of tomato cans O'Malley's way before he got to a certain point. And do they do this with certain fighters who are more marketable, would you believe?
I don't. I think because the fans, we rank the fighters.
Okay.
We choose who gets put where. O'Malley winning the Contender Series and then going on a 4-fight win with those fighters. Those are the people that the UFC sent him. And then he got a new contract, and I think he was ranked 11th or 10th at the time. They sent him Peter Yan, and he accepted it. That's why he got jumped up to number 2. He beat the number 2 guy who just fought for the belt. So I don't think he got Dana White privilege, as people say it or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the only thing going on right now that I think is someone getting special treatment is Colby Covington fighting Edwards. I don't think that fight should happen. The best thing that Covington has done, he's lost to Usman twice, and then hasn't fought since because of the whole Jorge Masvidal situation or whatnot. But I feel like he needs to come back and beat somebody first, but they're going to give him the belt anyways. I think the 2 knockouts, or the knockout and then the decision win that Edwards has, finally made him marketable.
Also, more to what I was speaking to as well, like, for example, the next fight for O'Malley, I think we're both in agreement it should be Merab, right?
Merab, yeah.
Merab. So, like,
I think it should be Merab.
But the fact that it's probably going to be Cheeto that's more of a money situation. It's not the best fight that should be happening next.
Cheeto had a super boring fight against Pedro. Super boring. Wasn't entertaining.
Yeah.
I could have seen it go either way. And I don't think you get a title shot after having a questionable win that I believe was a split decision.
Okay.
That's what I thought going into that too, and it's really shitty because when we were talking about that fight last week, I was hyping that fight up a lot, and it ended up being a snooze.
And the only reason Cheeto won that fight against O'Malley is O'Malley broke his ankle.
Broke his ankle, right?
Mm-hmm. But
I was pissed that night. I was so pissed. I wanted to see that fight. Like, I wanted to see that finish. But
look, I know Will feels like he's got a little piece in this O'Malley deal because it happened in his own backyard up in Boston.
E-town, baby. I'm a Boston kid. Born and
but Mike, you got anything left for Dalton?
No, that's about it for me. Actually, you know what? One piece of advice. Because I'm
start on.
Yeah,
I see you.
So I'm training for a fight too. It's a smoker fight. I don't know if that really counts, but what advice do you have for me?
You're gonna go in and you're gonna have nerves. You're gonna have an adrenaline dump before the fight. Like, your arms are gonna be heavy. Your heart's gonna race a lot. Do not let that trip you out. You're gonna feel heavy, but when your arms feel heavy and you feel like that, you're still ready, and you hit a lot harder than you think.
Cause like I'm an old guy. I'm late to the game. I'm turning 35 this year, and chances are I'm gonna go against a young buck. So, but I figure I'd do it while I still have a chance. While I still have like some youth left in me. So
just go in there swinging, bro.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
No, you're gonna get hit. Because if you go in there and you're like, I don't want to get hit, and you're real fidgety, you're gonna end up hurting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Go in there and you got to realize, I'm in a fight now, and it's perfectly legal, and I can get fucked up, and I don't want him to fuck me up. So you need to fuck him up.
Yes, sir.
I do have one more dumb question, Dalton. Do you are you planning to wear the Akatsuki shorts this week, or you got a new set?
Oh, I got my Naruto shorts with me.
Nice.
Let's
I was
go.
I was talking to Will about the Akatsuki shorts because I remember I had shouted you out like a couple weeks ago. I was like, I hope you bring them shorts back.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
You already see what it is right here.
I
You
got
already
it.
see. Let's go.
That's awesome. See, I told you, Will. I thought those were Hokage shorts. That's freaking it. That's pretty
Fine.
awesome.
Yeah, no, when I saw him, I'm like, yes.
The 7.
The 7th.
Seven.
Lord 7th. Let's go.
You know, and I always like because the thing about Dalton's page that I like being on is that he's an anime fan just like the rest of us are. I like how he does his quotes. He picks a lot of great quotes. I saw the Ichigo one recently. He's very in tune, very down to earth guy, and I'm really glad he was able to do the interview with us. Dalton, where can the fans find you, brother?
I got an Instagram at dgoins135. It's the weight class at the end. So, and then on Facebook, I have Dalton Goins MMA. So if you guys want to share those pages.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, I don't use Instagram that much. I just got into it in the past couple years. So I'm working on getting my followers up. The more followers you have on Instagram, which is mainly where promoters look, the more chances you have of getting spotted. So I think around the 3,000 or 4,000 point is when you start really getting noticed, and I don't even think I'm at $1,000 yet. So I'm working my way up.
Oh, we're gonna work to get you there. We all gotta share that, and I think we're gonna feel a little bit of like pride in watching you continue and move forward. You're definitely gonna be one of our guys now. So when we're picking from the heart, we're gonna be picking Dalton. That's for damn sure.
I appreciate it.
But yeah, man. If you could just do the little STWF TV plug for us right now, and we're gonna share your stuff as well. Would appreciate that.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll grab you after the fight. You can just hang out backstage for a little bit. We'll be back there very shortly. But no, thank you for the interview again, man. Thank you for taking the time to get us. Good luck on your fight tomorrow. I think we all need to give us a little prediction for Dalton right now. I'm not trying to jinx him, but I got round 3 knockout.
It's not lasting that long.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
First round submission.
Yeah. First round
submission.
First round
First round
KO,
submission.
man.
Yeah.
First round KO.
You got 3 different opinions here. Hopefully you hit one of them for us. Again, thank you for the follow Dalton anywhere you can. Thanks for the interview, man. Thank you for your time. And again, good luck.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely,
Thank you, brother.
man.
All right, that was our interview with Dalton Goins. Thank you for everyone tuning in. I saw we did get a ton of comments. They just weren't showing up on my end, but I finally got to go back and see him. Dalton's a good friend, great guy. Hit the pros.
He's the man.
Answered all our questions. He's a real professional.
In detail, lots of detail. It was great.
100%. You guys got some shout outs?
Man, shout out to Dalton, first and foremost, man. We appreciate him showing up. Shout out to you, Jake, for landing that interview. Friend or not, you went out and did the work, got a respectable guy in here. And man, he was just a great interview in general. So and shout out to just, the brand, man, the fellas, how we do. Shout out to the chat. We appreciate y'all, man. Well, I ain't even gonna do a MVP tonight. The MVP was Dalton tonight, man. That's who that was.
Sir. I like that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna piggyback off of you, man. Yeah, thanks to Dalton again, and just taking time away, especially it's so close to his fight too. Just take time away and help and come on, talk to us.
Yeah, he took over an hour with us. That was awesome. Wasn't expecting that. I told him I was just going to take him for 30 minutes. He stayed on for at least an hour and 10 minutes. That was awesome.
And you know why? You know why? It's because fighter or not, deep down, he's still one of us. Like he said, he's a fan, man. He loves this sport. So I think it was less an interview for him and more he just joined the chat to chop up about some fighting. I think that's what it was for him. And I think that worked out great for us. I wish more guys who fought would take it with that approach as well, because then we'd have a lot more fun, do a lot more interviews.
Absolutely. Yeah, shout out to you too. Thank you for being here. Shout out to Dalton for being a consummate professional that he is. Can't wait to see his fight tomorrow. If you guys end up wanting to see the fight, I'll shoot you the link so that you guys will be able to see him. Give him a follow on Facebook. Try to find him on Instagram if you can. He's on Twitter. Give him a follow. And as always, you got to check us out. Follow us on everything. Like, share, subscribe. STWF TV. Thank you for tuning in tonight.
You already know. Come a week.